What's going on, San Antonio? What's going on, South Texas? This is
I
the
can't
Area
hear you now,
210
Mike, at all.
podcast coming at you from San Antonio, Texas. I'm also Space City Mike today.
Mike, we
Joe,
got no
I
audio
don't
on
hear
you,
you right
bro.
now. Is there something going on?
We have no audio with you, Mike. I don't know what happened. Maybe plug your mic back in.
Joe, technical difficulties? I cannot hear you.
Now I can hear you.
There you go. We gonna redo the show again?
No, it
Did you push the wrong button again, Joe?
wasn't me. This time it was you that hit the wrong button.
All right. We are live right now here on YouTube. We're now on Facebook as well as we do Area 210. Want to thank everybody for celebrating with us over the weekend. We had a fantastic day as we celebrated more than 2,000 subscribers. We were over at the Hidden Tavern over there near Castle Hills. Joe, did you enjoy yourself out there?
I did. I had a good time with y'all and everybody else that came out and, you know, guess supported the event. It was a good showing by the listeners. It was a lot of fun. Got to see Mike sing a couple songs for us. Then I got to hang out with Pledger afterwards. We hung out at the Root Pub. Bro, I didn't get home till like 4 in the morning.
Dude, Francesca and I both talked about time traveling because we remember being at the bar. I
Yeah.
remember ordering an Uber,
Yep.
getting into the Uber, and I woke up and me and Francesca were asleep. We were in bed asleep. And I was like, I don't remember the drive. I don't remember getting into the house. I don't remember getting on into bed, but it just somehow happened. We made our way through. But it was one of those nights, man, because everyone wanted to celebrate and they would come up and go, "Hey, we got you a shot. We got you a shot." And
Yeah.
like 10 shots later, I'm trying to sing Creep by STP. I let out 4 words and I was like, man, I have no
Done.
voice.
I'm done.
Meantime, Francesca almost got into a fight.
Oh, God.
She did nothing wrong, by the way. She did nothing wrong, by the way. She was just going to the restroom and some girl just like wanted to fight her.
Yeah, that was like it was weird, man. And we're all cheering you on, Mike, when you were gonna sing STP Creep. Because you tell me, Joe, go put my name in the hat. I want to go and sing
Yeah.
an STP song. Don't tell me what it is. All right, cool. I'll go over there and say, hey man, can you go ahead and put my boy's name on there? He wants to sing song. So let's sing Creep. All right. Go up there and Francesca's there, front and center. I'm there. And some other people are there. And we're over here clapping and everything, cheering you on. Come on, Mike. And he goes and you do like a couple lines, and then you're like, I'm out.
I'm out. I tapped out, man. I tapped out. My voice was shot. It was
Woo.
because you're screaming at a bar the entire time. You're drinking a lot of bourbon and whatnot. And by the way, for those who don't know, this was the first time in about 15, 20 years that I've gone back to back nights of drinking. Because you and I liquored up the day before, right?
Oh yeah.
So that was the thing. I don't think I can drink for the next like 2 or 3 weeks, man. And at the
Jeez.
very least, because my birthday's in mid-March. I'm gonna wait till then.
Yeah.
Way too much booze, but it was all done safely. We did take the Ubers to and from, all that stuff. We had a fantastic time over at Hidden Tavern. We'll do another night, man. Another night where we can all get together and celebrate something. Man.
Oh, look at this. JHNSB says y'all should hire DJLG. This they put. I heard he's on the market now. It's funny you say that because me and DJLG had some dinner last night, so it was good, man. Caught up a little bit, got to talk. So good times, good times.
Very nice. Well, I am out in Conroe, Texas right now. Kind of an interesting area. I like it out here, but we're trying to figure out what we're going to do long term. I think we're going to start looking for land in the San Antonio area. So I don't think I'm going to be Space City for too much longer. Maybe I am for a while. Maybe I won't be. We don't know. I just know this is a transition year for me as things end with my divorce and whatnot. Tony O'Neill asking the questions. What songs did I sing? I remember the first song I sang. I sang Tony Rich Project's Nobody Knows, and I think I did okay. The second song, I don't even remember what it was. Oh, was it? Did I sing? I sang "Here I Go Again" on my own
Think
by
so.
Whitesnake. That's what it was.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because I remember you saying I'm gonna go sing White Snake. I was playing pool in the back with the boys, man. We were playing some pool. Alex was with me, and some of your friends were in the back there. We were all playing some pool, having a good time.
Yeah. And what's funny about karaoke is that you always say, "Man, I don't know what I'm gonna sing," But now I have like a list of songs that I can think of because the
Ah,
next day, songs come to mind that you would have sung in a heartbeat. I should have done Everclear Santa Monica.
true. We could have done
That
that.
that that's a good one. What about John Bon Jovi's Blaze of Glory?
Jeez, bro. You gotta have some pipes to sing that one, man.
Well, I mean, come on, man. It's just one part of the song. And that has to be early in the night because late at night, you ain't going to hit those notes, man. Ain't getting him at all. But anyway, we're here for the next hour and 15 minutes or so talking sports, pop culture, nostalgia. Lots to get into. Spurs got blown out yesterday. It was weird because in the second quarter, Spurs were up by like 17. But you're not going to win a lot of games when you get outscored. Let's see, 74-43 in the second half. It was brutal. Bismack Biyombo might have been the second best Spur last night. That says a lot. We got to talk about the Spurs' quote unquote young core. Okay. We know that Wemby's untouchable. We know that Castle's untouchable. And we know that De'Aaron Fox is going to be signed to a long term extension. Other than that, Joe, we need to have a conversation about all the other pieces that the Spurs have of the quote unquote young core, the Devin Vassells, the
Ooh.
Keldon Johnsons, Julian Champagnes, the Jeremy Sohans of the world. Dude,
Let's
the
look
more I
at it.
look at this team, I think to myself, those fools need to be gone, gone.
Look at this, Mike. Devin Vassell last night, right? Last night's outing, 5 points. He was out there for 25 minutes, right?
Hmm.
You look and Spurs Muse puts out a really good stat here. Devin Vassell is shooting 15 for 60 from the last three. Let's see, this is from three over his last 10 games. So he's shooting 15 for 60 from the 3-point line over the last 10 games. That's good enough for 25%, Mike.
Well,
That's just 3-point shooting.
he's shooting about 25% from the field, including 2 pointers,
Yeah, I mean it.
because he's in those last 5 games 14 of 51, which is about 27%.
Yeah.
All right, last night against the Pelicans, 1 of 9 shooting, only 5 points. The game before that, in a win that the Spurs had against the Pistons, I'm sorry, a game against they lost against the Pistons. They beat the Suns. They were 2 for 7 against the Pistons, 5 of 14 against the Suns, 4 of 12 against Boston, and 2 of 9 against the Wizards. It's He's fallen off, man. He's fallen off, and I don't want to hear that it's because of an injury. Because if it's because of an injury, then he's just injury prone. This is a guy that loses a lot of time and he's the Spurs' highest paid player. It's ridiculous. And
Yeah.
then we're taking a look across the box score yesterday. It wasn't just him; it was the entire starting lineup that dropped pants and just sucked ass the entire time. You're taking a look at Harrison Barnes, 4 of 11. Bismack Biyombo was only started with a good shooting average, 4 of 6. But Chris Paul, 1 of 10. Dude, Chris Paul's done. Chris Paul is washed. He is beyond washed. Okay, he's not even a G League quality player anymore. It's sad. It's sad. De'Aaron Fox, 3 of 16. Devin Vassell, 1 of 9. Mamu, 0 of 2. Sohan, 2 of 6. The one that's been playing pretty well these days has been Keldon Johnson. But at the end of the day, he's an undersized small forward. At the end of the day, that's what he is. And the Spurs go out and lose to one of the worst teams in the league, 114-96. The Pelicans team that came into the game 14-42. Spurs are, and in the meantime, we haven't talked about Stephon Castle. Stephon Castle, 1 of 10 shooting himself. He's playing himself out of the rookie of the year contention. I mean, if the season were to end right now, he'd probably win it. But he's coming back to the fold. He's coming back to the pack. He was running away with the rookie of the year, especially after his performances All-Star break weekend. It's bad. And Tavarius is saying Mitch Johnson can't coach. You know what it is, Joe? And with Tavarius, this team just sucks. Let's just call it what it is, man. None of these guys are NBA quality players. De'Aaron Fox is. Stephon Castle can be and should be. Wemby obviously is, but he's out for the year. But Sohan isn't a starter for any other team. I know he's not starting with us anymore, but still, he's not getting major minutes with any other team. The same's going to say for Keldon Johnson, maybe even Devin Vassell. These are all just replaceable dudes, man. They're going to have long careers in the NBA, but at the end of the day, they're just dudes. And the idea that this is a young core that we're going to build Wemby through sucks. Either the player development sucks, the drafting sucks, combination of the two, or it's the fact that these guys just aren't it, man. And I'm this Mitch Johnson slander as though Brett Brown's going to make this team better, as though Pop was going to make this team better. At the end of the day, Joe, half this team sucks.
It's like this too, Mike. Was Wemby, a healthy Wemby, going to make this team better? No.
No,
This team sucks. It's just Wemby. You have Wemby, Castle. Now we have Fox and a bunch of dudes.
and a
That's
bunch
it.
of dudes.
Bunch of dudes.
Got a 39-year-old dinosaur playing in the starting lineup, man. Chris Paul, who, don't be wrong, he's somebody who has a lot of injuries along the way as well. He's been playing almost every single game this year, but Chris Paul is showing that he is done, dude. He is. It's sad. It's sad. Look, Chris Paul's last few games, the last 7 games, 4 points, 3 points, 13, 5, 8, 6, and 6. He had a 3-point game also against Miami. The dude's averaging like 7 points per game the last month. 1 of 10, 1 of 3, 2 of 8, 2 of 6, 2 of 4, 1 of 4, 4 of 9.
Look at Marcos. He sums it up just right, Mike. San Antonio Spurs are just Marbach nice.
What's one step below Marbach nice? Is it Traders Village nice?
Traders Village.
Because that's exactly what the Spurs are. And I don't think Spurs fans are talking about like, okay, well, we're doing a tank. And we have to tank. We don't have the talent to win basketball games. Let's look at the red flags. We talk about dating. How there's green flags and red flags, right? What is the red flag of Devin Vassell?
Inconsistency.
Makes a lot of money, but super inconsistent, right?
Yep.
What's the red flag of Keldon Johnson? Size.
Undersized. Can't make good decisions with the ball at times. He gets
tunnel vision. That's a really good point. He has the heart, but size. What's the red flag of Jeremy Sohan?
Can't shoot for shit, dude.
I mean, you put all the shots that he's made that everyone's gonna be like, oh well, his shooting's gone up to 34% from 3. No one's guarding him.
No,
those are uncontested shots.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
they dare him.
What's Julian Champagne's red flag?
He can't stay healthy. Not healthy, but he can't knock down a consistent jumper, consistent 3-point shot. He's like Devin Vassell. They lack consistency.
Yeah, he knocked down 5 3-pointers in the first half yesterday. It was looking great. Then he disappeared in the second half.
Gone.
Malachi Branham, Blake Wesley. What are their red flags? We don't know because they're not even good enough to be on this team anymore.
Yeah, they
to
can't
be playing
stay
games.
Can't stay healthy.
So, dude, we just named
half
2/3 of the roster. and if you think that Vassell is going to become consistent, if you think that Sohan's going to learn to shoot, if you think that Keldon Johnson is going to get taller, if you think Champagnie is going to develop more than just that one jump shot that he has, you're out of your mind. They're not the guys, Joe. They're not them.
The one thing that the Spurs are lacking too that they need to address in this offseason is a legitimate big man that's going to be playing inside the paint. Wemby's not going to do that, right? So they're going to have to get a guy that's going to go down low, bang bodies in the paint, get rebounds, do all the dirty work, right? Because Wemby wants to be like Karl Anthony Towns, a big man who doesn't play in the paint, kind of sits around the perimeter, more of a finesse player, knocking down threes, knocking down jumpers. That's going to be his forte. But they need to address the issue with a big man that can actually shoot and play the center position and not have that fall under Wemby because that's just not his game.
Yeah, and Wemby being more Durant than he is David Robinson's a little bit concerning. I mean, why can't you do both? It's like he's forced into it. Right now, there's so much influx when it comes to the Spurs. Who are they going to keep on this team? You have that bad contract that is Devin Vassell's making $29 million a year, and that contract goes on for another few more years after this season. At the time, it looked like it was a good deal, like a good bargain. Not so much anymore, man. We got rid of one bad contract in Zach Collins. Spurs need to move on from this one. Even if we don't get anything in return, Joe, if we just get the cap space in return, that would be nice, man. Give us some picks, give us something. But right now, the Spurs are in line to get the number 10 and 11 pick. Should the lottery hold the form? But if the Spurs really want to get a top 5, top 6 pick, we really need to start losing a lot of games right now, Joe. Remember what I told you? 31 through 40 wins, no man's land because you're not making the playoffs.
Nope.
You're in the play-in. You're not actually getting a good draft pick at that point either. Spurs need to be losing games. And I hate to say it because a lot of Spurs fans are like, it's the loser mentality. That's all I see on Twitter, on Spurs Twitter. Loser mentality, loser mentality. You know what? You can say that all you want. Fact of the matter is that these guys are not talented enough to win games.
Nope.
We need to come to that conclusion that if we're going to rely on Keldon, Vassell, Sohan, and Champagny, that is not a winning formula at all. Because they're never going to be as good as what Oklahoma City brings to the table. They're never going to be as good as what Memphis brings to the table, or even veteran teams like Denver or not even better than Sacramento. And Sacramento got rid of De'Aaron Fox. It's one of those things. We're not going to be better than Phoenix with those teams, with that roster. We need either free agents, veterans. This whole thing, Joe, that the Spurs need to, build but not bought. It's great when you have Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
But in the absence of getting a Tim Duncan, guess what you do, Joe? You build and buy at the same time.
Yeah.
They're trying to build a winner, Joe, in many respects, or at least this was up until De'Aaron Fox, the way Jerry Jones is trying to win a Super Bowl through the draft alone.
It's not working, man. They need to do something different because those days of built not bought, that's stupid. That's not going to happen anymore, especially with the way that the Spurs develop players now. It's just not there anymore because they don't have the quality of player anymore to really develop and bring along and have that luxury to wait for, X amount of seasons for them to actually show us that they can do something. It's funny because look at what JHNSB says. Half these guys are born losers. Tavares says it is a loser mentality when you can't develop and scout. All right. Look, we got an incoming super chat from Tony Ornelas. Thank you, Tony. Appreciate it. He says Fox should have his finger surgery now. Spurs tank.
I've been seeing that a lot. We do know that De'Aaron Fox is playing hurt, but there's a difference between being hurt and injured. He needs to learn the Spurs system. He needs to be out there playing. It's not like he's playing bad. He's doing okay out there. But it's I don't know if it's loser mentality or the fact that Spurs fans need to come with the conclusion, come to grips with the fact that all that thing that Pop was developing over the last 5 years was basura. It was just straight up trash.
Yeah, this Spurs squad has a lot of problems, man. It's just not. Oh, you can blame said player. It's the team as a whole. This team just isn't it, man. You can see that. Spurs fans can see that. Everybody's getting upset. They're like, well, we thought this team was going to be playing ready, with the healthy Wemby and Fox. Even if Fox and Wemby were healthy, this squad still wasn't going to be going anywhere because the supporting cast around them, it ain't worth a damn. You have the Spurs right now at 24-31 on the season. Now there's probably just 28 games, I think, left on in the season right now. They had 30 games when they came back. They're at 28, 29, something like that. Looking at the Spurs, the trajectory that they're on right now, and injuries and players just sucking right now real bad. We'll be lucky if this squad gets up to 35 wins, Mike. I mean,
and 35 is too many.
Yeah, you have to
35 is too many. Because the way the lottery system works, obviously, the way the lottery system works is that you try to move into the top 4 and then have the number 1 overall pick, right? When the Spurs got Wemby, the Spurs had a 50% chance, 52% chance of being in the top 4. They had a 14% chance, 1-7 of winning Wemby. The big get this year is Cooper Flagg. You could also say Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper out of Rutgers are also big. VJ Edgecombe out of Baylor. Those are the 4 top prospects out there right now. Spurs right now sitting at the 10 and 11 pick going into the lottery. Right now, the Spurs would have a 23.3 chance of being in the top 4. Right now, the Spurs would have a 5% chance of being in the number 1 overall pick to get Cooper Flagg. That's a 1 in 20 chance. But Portland keeps winning, Joe.
Yeah.
The Spurs are just one game behind Portland in the standings. If Portland passes the Spurs, our chances of going into the top four go up about 6.5%. The chances of the Spurs getting Cooper Flag goes up by a percentage and a half point. And then you have Chicago right behind them. You have Brooklyn right behind them. The Spurs are about 3.5 games away from being potentially in a top 7 type position where they'd have basically a 2 in 5 chance of being in the top four. A 2 in 5 chance of getting Edgecombe, Bailey, Harper, or Flag. As of right now, I don't trust the Spurs right now to pick the right guy at 9. I don't trust the Spurs to pick the right guy at 11. Because what are we seeing? We're seeing that 2022 draft unfold. And we're seeing the Spurs had 3 first rounders, right? Malachi Brown and Blake Wesley, not even on the floor the past couple of months. We're seeing Jeremy Sohan, who has gotten a little bit better this year, a little bit more consistent this year. But you look at Jalen Williams, who the Spurs could have gotten. You look at all the other players the Spurs could have gotten around that number 9 pick. Spurs pass, picked a guy who can't shoot, right? Good defender, can't shoot. Just is what it is, man. So right
Look at this.
now,
I'm going to
yeah.
show this to you, man. What they said after the game, right? That's an important thing. Show you the state of mind where the players are currently at. Look at what Jeff Garcia put out here. This is a quote from Julian Champagnie. After the game, he puts, "Now it's the time to hunker down and figure it out. Whether that means the team go out to dinner or do something, we need to get back in the gym more, or figure something out to talk about a bit more. I don't know what it's going to be, but we definitely need to figure something out." Julian Champagnie this is what he had to say after the Spurs lost to the New Orleans Pelicans. What are you talking about, bro?
Well, here's the thing.
You know?
Champagne had 18 points last night, knocked down a bunch of 3-pointers yesterday. The thing about Champagne, though, is his mentality is different than a lot of the other players because this is a guy that was not highly touted. He was not, I think he was undrafted, if not mistaken, or he was end of the second round when he was drafted. He has a different mentality. He still feels like it's a blessing and that it's still something that it's like he doesn't take it for granted that he's an NBA player. I get that. Dude's 100% one dimensional, man. He's a catch and shoot guy. That's all he is. That's all he is. Catch and shoot. Now, if you're gonna be catch and shoot, you better defend like Bruce Bowen did. That's all Bruce Bowen was. But at the end of the day, you look at what he's doing and what he brings to the table. It's one dimensional. Sohan, relatively one dimensional, maybe 2 dimensional.
Yeah,
Keldon, bull in the china shop. I mean, he's playing good. He's playing better this month. But it's just one of those things where at the end of the day, you know what you got.
get
Devin
that
Vassell,
phone.
you know what you got.
Yeah, the thing with Julian Champagnie and his comments here, it's like the kid still thinks, hey, we can get this thing fixed. We can right the ship. We can get everybody to come get on board and play, better quality basketball. We're gonna win some games. We're gonna put on a good show. You can't, dude. Not with the talent that you have on this team right now. That's the reality that's setting in, I think, finally, for Spurs fans. They have the delusions of grandeur with healthy Fox, with the healthy Wemby. Man, they're going to make the play in. They're going to flirt with the play in. They weren't going to do that anyway. The reality is the talent level isn't there. And we've been saying this, Mike, since the beginning of the season, but everybody likes to throw eggs at us and, go and come at us and say that's a horrible take. We were right about the Cowboys, and we were right about this Spurs team. We told you guys since the beginning of the season, this team ain't it, man. And they're proving us right again.
And then people are all enamored. I see Tavarius in our stream powered by YouTube, by MCS General Contracting, saying Bassey can't stay healthy. Dude, Bassey's just a dude, man. Bismack Biyombo, just a dude. Why are we talking about these players when we do realize that they just absolutely suck? Okay? This is not Spurs haterade or anything like that. It just is what it is, man.
Mhm.
We've seen enough. We've seen enough. I've seen enough of this one-dimensional bull crap being tossed out there, and the Spurs need to draft players who are multifaceted in what they do. I know Stephon Castle's had back-to-back bad games. He was 1 for 10 yesterday, right? And people are like, well, keep the same energy with Castle. But I know Castle can do various things. We've seen him do multiple different types of skill sets. We see him be a lockdown defender from time to time. We can see that there's talent there, that there's something emerging from Stephon Castle. Okay, he had a couple of bad games. It happens. Okay, but we know that we don't know what we have with Castle. We know that there's more positives than negatives, and there's something there. There's a talent that's there. There's a drive. There's an energy that's there. There's an IQ. The guy was what, just turned 20. There's an IQ that's there that others don't have. Okay, I think that he has a better feel for the game than Sohan. I think he has a better feel for the game than Keldon, a better feel for the game than Champagne. So Stephon Castle is part of what should be the real core of this team. Because here's what I fear, Joe. 2 years from now, yeah, they'll be able to sign Wemby to a super max, right? All that stuff. You think Wemby's going to want to stick around a team that sucks for 4 years? Do you think he wants to have be part of a roster that has 4 losing seasons in a row?
They went out and got Fox, right? For the reason of what? They're going to win. Hey, man, this team is going to be a different team, different look. This is going to be a team that's going to go out there and win games. If this duo with Wemby and Fox can't even get to the play-in when it's time for Wemby's rookie contract to be up, you think he's going to want to stick around here?
Right.
No.
Right. That's exactly it. And that's why Spurs fans look at these players and they think, oh, well, they're just like Tim Duncan, right? Tim Duncan never,
Oh.
they're just like David. He almost left after year 3, right?
Yeah.
Like David Robinson. This is entitled Spurs fan. This is Spurs fans who believes that every player that comes through. This is Spurs fan who believes that there's a culture within the organization. That is what's funny. Spurs culture. Dude, Spurs culture is hanging from the rafters right now. Tim, Tony, and Manu are not walking through that door anymore. Popovich as a good coach is never going to happen anymore. He may never coach again. So this whole thing about culture, well, because Manu hangs around the practice facility, and Tim goes by every once in a while, and Parker said, who cares? That's not on the daily. You know what the Spurs culture is right now, Joe? Losing.
Yeah.
There's not one member of the 2014 team on this roster, right?
But you know what? This is the thing, Mike. This is why I compare Cowboy fan and Spurs fan. What do the Spurs fans say that Cowboy fan says all the time? Next year is our year.
Yeah, next year's our year. Jesse A saying, but the next draft class is going to be really strong. They say it's top heavy. It's not as strong as they thought it's going to be. But he says, but the free agent class is strong. Jesse, free agency is a myth. It doesn't exist. Out of the top 20 free agents from last year heading into last season, do you know how many of them went to free agency? 0. Free agency does not exist. It doesn't. Everyone gets extended. So if the Spurs want to get a player, they're going to have to give somebody up. They're going to have to do a trade of some sort to get that player. Was De'Aaron Fox ever going to become a free agent? No. Look at all the big names. LeBron James. Does he ever become a free agent? No. He guides where he's going to go, right? All the big names sign extensions and then get traded. They don't go hit the free agency market. That never happens. It doesn't happen in the NFL either when it comes to quarterbacks. It just doesn't happen. But right now, man, it's brutal. It's brutal. But you know what? We got to cheer for losses because that's all we have. All we have right now, Joe, is the draft. That's all we have. That's all we have is the draft. Every win from here on out is detrimental to the Spurs team. We need to basically, like the movie Major League, that red tag. You're gone. Keldon, Vassell, Sohan, Branham, Wesley, Mamu, Bassie, all you guys.
Look at July 26th.
Gone. I don't want to see these guys ever again. Gone.
Yeah, July 26th. Laughed my ass off. I've never heard a Spurs fan say next year is our year. Really?
Yeah. No,
they always say we're gonna have a better season.
That's Cowboy fan, man.
That's but I'm saying Spurs fans have that mentality. Oh, well, this season, they ended the season well. Look at how well they were playing. We're gonna have a great season next year. They're gonna make it to the play-in next year. Here we are, several seasons past, right? From what couple seasons ago, where they got Wemby, they got they had some other players that they had that they thought they were going to be it, and the DeJounte gone, all the other players that they had of old gone, Derek White, Jakob Portal, Dougie McBuckets, and nothing ever pans out, man. That's what I'm saying. It's like Spurs fan, you got to get tired of waiting because if you keep waiting and you get used to the losing, the mediocrity, what this Spurs team's going to turn into is the Dallas Cowboys, man. I don't want that to happen, Mike.
Do you know what we saw? We saw Bismack Biyombo yesterday do a double double. Right, the guy who has been on 4 teams in 4 years. It's a guy who hasn't been in the NBA all season, but because he's a veteran, went out there and produced. He got some blocks out there, was had a really strong second quarter, but it's because of being a veteran means something. And the Spurs can't be talking about their young core as being a young core anymore because they're not a young core. They're young people, but they've been in the league for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons. They're not young anymore. Devin Vassell's been in the league for 6 years, has never been in a play-in game, never been in a playoff game. Keldon Johnson's never been in a playoff game. Sohan's never been in a playoff game. They have no battle scars, nothing. And then the Harrison Barnes, I like having him on the team. He's fine. But Chris Paul's washed. It's just this team is going downhill. Speaking of which, we need to talk about Shams Charania. He posted over the weekend, quote, on Twitter, San Antonio Spurs Hall of Fame coach Greg Popovich is not expected to return this season, and his future is uncertain as he recovers from a mild stroke in November, league sources tell ESPN.
What did we tell the people, Mike?
He was done.
He was done. He wasn't coming back. They didn't believe us. Now they have the news coming from Shams Charania saying the same damn thing, that he's not coming back for the rest of the season. They're going to go ahead and reevaluate him. Health comes first, right? Coach Pop, give him his roses. He helped the Spurs, go on that dynasty there, and they won a couple chips, good for him. But at the end of the day, the health concerns are there. When you have let's say a stroke of any kind, you're prone to get another one. You can't do this type of job as far as being a head coach in this league and not have a lot of stress on you, right? And that's one of the main causes of a stroke, especially at his age. It's time to go ahead and move on. I'm afraid, that Spurs fans, you've seen your last Coach Pop sighting out there coaching the team. I mean, that's it. The end comes fast, Mike. You never know when it's going to happen.
Can I ask you something,
It
Joe?
happened. Yeah.
Has there been a Pop sighting anywhere?
They saw him one time over here. It was about a week or two ago. He was at the Spurs practice facility. That's when they were telling Wemby, his medical diagnosis. Coach Pop probably went over there to kind of console him, talk with him a little bit as well, and just help out the young man a bit. But he wasn't coming back, man. The Spurs fans kind of saw him there, I guess. One or two took not a picture, but I guess they saw him in the car or whatever, figured, oh, he's coming back. He's going to join the team in February. That was what the rumor was, but he's done, man. The Spurs aren't going to come out right and say that, but Shams did. He probably heard from somebody. You think the Spurs are going to announce that Coach Pop is not going to come back? I mean, they kind of hint at it. I think Mitch Johnson said something the other day and, to the reporters, and then that was about it. But I mean, we're going to hear an official word come down from the front office? I don't think so.
Yeah, and they're very private about his health condition and whatnot. I understand all that, right? I think the Spurs could have been more forthcoming from the get-go as far as letting Spurs fans know that he wasn't going to come back, that there was no chance of it. I don't think there was one chance at all from the get-go. I don't think it was one of those things where they're like, well, let's see how he is in a month or two. I think from the beginning they knew. Maybe they just didn't want people to keep prying into his health. But they kind of owed that to the Spurs fan base. I remember when I was bitching and complaining about that back in November, and the Spurs finally made an announcement saying what had happened. They originally just said that it was a medical condition, right? But they weren't saying if it was a stroke or a heart attack. I don't know why the Spurs are being all secretive about it. He's a public figure, for crying out loud, in San Antonio. He's a staple of the city. He's 76, Joe.
It's time to go, man.
He should have, dude. He would have been, Joe, considered the greatest coach of all time had he walked out like David Robinson. Remember, Robinson left in 2003 as a champ.
Yeah.
If he had left out as a champ after beating LeBron James and that Heat team in 2014, kind of like George Costanza on Seinfeld when he says that episode, when you make everybody laugh, leave the room,
Yeah.
right? Because everyone will then remember you. If the final image of Greg Popovich was 2014 championship, beating LeBron, D Wade, beating Chris Bosh, and exiting stage left, stage right, just getting out the door, he would have been the all-time GOAT, and it would have been amazing. But to have the career that he had the last decade of 5 or 6 losing seasons in a row, losing a star in Kawhi Leonard, um, 5 losing records in a row, bad drafts, all that stuff. Him grabbing the mic and telling people not to boo Kawhi Leonard, all the political crap that he was talking as well. Whether you agree with it or don't disagree or disagree with it, it was just unbecoming.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the crap stain on his career. He's on the Mount Rushmore of coaches. You can't take him off of it, right? But the conversation of whether or not he is the GOAT, sorry, GOATs don't end their career with 5 losing records in a row. They don't. GOATs know when to leave. He didn't. And now he has to go out this way, which absolutely sucks because I would have loved for him to have gone out and coached a game or two to end the year, end his career, go out, wave his hat, wave, just do something, right? Before to end this way sucks, man. It absolutely sucks. And he should have been, he should have been out a long time ago, man. And this is something about the Spurs, quote unquote, culture that we were talking about earlier that they didn't talk to him about.
Yeah.
You need to look at him and go, dude, it's time to move on. It's time to move on. He's 76. Never should have been out there. Can you imagine, Joe, if he had died at the Frostbank Center?
Very gruesome, Mike. Picture you're painting there in the middle of the game, just keeled on over and just KO there on the court.
I mean, we saw that fan that keeled over at the Spurs game a couple weeks ago. Remember? Well,
Yeah.
they delayed the start of the game. I don't want to see that, man. Just enjoy your retirement. Be part of the team in a different capacity. But he never should have been out there coaching, Joe. Just simply because of dude. The idea of having 82 games, not including playoffs, not including preseason, all that stuff, all that travel, wear and tear on your body. You think he's going to come back from a stroke?
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm. Out of your mind.
I was going to show this stat here.
Sam Salinas, great comment. Pop went from the goat to a stubborn ass. And when does that happen? When you get old.
Yeah, friend of mine here, Paul Garcia, posted here. It's not surprising he's talking about the way the teams are attacking the Spurs now with Wemby being out. It says teams are going to start attacking the Spurs inside more with Victor gone for the rest of the season. And he puts out a stat that's, kind of telling here. 52% of the Pistons shots came from the paint. And tonight, the opposition high 61% of the Pelican shots came from inside the paint as well. That goes to tell you what's going to be happening here, Spurs fan, as the season comes to an end here. The other teams know what's going to happen because they don't have any rim protection there. The San Antonio Spurs don't. They're just going to attack the paint, attack the paint, attack the paint. So you're going to probably see more of what is unfolding in front of your eyes, as the season comes to an end here. Unfortunately, you got nobody out there, so they're just going to go ahead and go right at you guys. And unfortunately, the Spurs just can't do anything about it. They're not going to be able to get the stops. So what that tells you is that this team has to go ahead and be able to sustain leads in order to win a game or don't fall behind early on. If you fall behind early on, how are you going to get the stops necessary to climb back into the game if you don't have any rim protection?
Well, the Spurs yesterday, it was interesting watching that game last night because the Spurs at some point in the second quarter went up by like 17 points. And I remember they went to like game time stats or in up to the minute stats of the game. And I think it was Sean Elliott who pointed out the fact that the Spurs were being out rebounded despite the fact that they were up by 17.
Yeah.
And he was saying how interesting that is. Usually it goes hand in hand. You win the battle of the boards, you win the game. But last night they got out rebounded tremendously, and they get beaten up inside. That's just the aspect of it all. Yesterday the Spurs had 46 rebounds, right? New Orleans had 69. 69-46. Meantime, keep an eye on this, Joe. When it came to the starters yesterday, Spurs scored 96 points, right? 13 from Barnes, 10 from Biombo. You got 4 from Paul. You got De'Aaron Fox with 13, and you had Vassell rather with 5. 45 points came from starters. Your starters had 45 points. And it's not like they played just 20 minutes. They played a lot of minutes. The bench outscored the starters yesterday. And really, it was just a couple of players. It was Keldon and Champagny going off. There's just no talent. There's just no talent on this team, dude.
Look at the points in the paint, like we're talking about. New Orleans Pelicans had 58 points in the paint compared to the Spurs, who just had 34 points in the paint.
Yeah.
There you go. You know, they're going to go ahead and attack, and they're probably going to get to the stripe a little bit more than the Spurs did. They only got there one more. They made one more attempt. You know, they were up there 26 times. Spurs went up to the stripe 25 times. 3-pointers, Spurs made a little bit more 3-point shots than the Pelicans, but the Pelicans took less and capitalized on more of their 3-point attempts. They were 11 of 33, good enough for 33.3% from beyond the arc, while the Spurs, get this, Mike, 15 of 51, good enough for 29.4%. Why are you all shooting threes if you can't knock them down? Stop it.
Well, Vassell was struggling yesterday big time. Only Champagny was the one knocking down a lot of threes. It was nice seeing Zion Williamson out there. 22 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. Zion, I mean, he's a talented player when he's healthy enough to play, man. That's just a brutal thing. He's only played 20 games this season.
Look at this, Mike. I'm going to show it on screen just so you can see. This is the lightest he's ever been, brother. 264 pounds. Lightest weight since being drafted by the Pelicans.
You know what's funny? He's skinnier than Luka.
Probably no lies detected there because he's not drinking that sweet tea.
Dude, it was so funny that you mentioned that. I was watching FS1, and what's that guy, Nick Wright?
Yeah.
Nick Wright was going off on Luka about how, I still can't believe that they traded him. And he goes, I don't care if that man likes Bud Light and sweet tea. You don't do that. He mentioned the sweet tea. Dude, when I read that, I thought that was a joke. But no, the sweet tea is a real thing. It is a real thing.
You could sweet tea. Probably getting that sweetest of the sweet teas. You could just put a straw in there and it stands right up because all the
he's not putting in there sweet and low. He's got like the white packets, not the pink packets. Let's give some love to MCS General Contracting and their Diamond Heart Concrete.
MCS General Contracting, more than 30 years of combined experience in concrete placement. They are the best in the business. Honest pricing, high quality work. They get going on house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks. If you want to extend the deck, extend the driveway. If you're a business and you need to put together a slab, a parking lot, or other concrete placement services or sidewalks, reach out to MCS General Contracting at 210-774-9155. They're confident in their skills, so give Chris Leha over at MCS General Contracting a call at 210-774-9155. And thank you for being a sponsor of this show. Get some of that Diamond Heart Concrete in your lives. Go ahead and give our boy Chris Leha a call. This chat that you all enjoy right now is powered by MCS General Contracting. So for all your concrete needs, especially getting that Diamond Heart Concrete in your life, call Chris Leha, 210-774-9155. And I did go and see the lovely work they did at your home the other day, Mike.
Yeah. You're in the backyard. I was showing you. I like this comment that we have from Mario saying that Luka Doncic is building a Bill Miller's in Los Angeles. He loves the sweet tea. Hey, I don't normally ask for the grito. I don't normally do this, Joe. But we might need to pour one out. Do I have to pay $5 for this?
No. What are we going to do the grito for?
We might have to do a grito right now, pouring one out for Hooters.
Oh, God.
Reports out there that Hooters is filing for bankruptcy, might be going under. Let's hear a grito for Hooters. Yeah, we know that old man's been to Hooters once or twice in his life. But yeah, there's reports out there that Hooters is making the moves needed to file for bankruptcy. They apparently owe $300 million. They
Ooh,
issued out bonds back in the day, and they're not paying them back correctly, according to a lot of reports by the New York Post, Fox News as well, reporting this as well. So what they're trying to do is they've hired this law firm to restructure their debt, and that is a precursor typically to filing for bankruptcy. Hooters has shut down locations nationwide already for what they call underperforming uh, franchises. But bottom line is, this is a business model that's in trouble. And back in the day, Joe, I remember the restaurants coming out. Right, you had Hooters, you had Ojos Locos, you had Twin Peaks, and Redneck this and that and the other, whatever what is called. And I mean, but Hooters is a staple. I mean, Hooters is something that is iconic. The white shirt, the black shirt with the orange shorts. It's iconic. I can't see a country in America in which this goes under. Devin Booker of the Phoenix Suns tweeted about this, saying, "Please save Hooters." Joe, a
oh,
lot of companies just restructure debt and make things go. TGI Fridays is still around, for crying out loud, right? Companies, but there's other companies that we've seen go under. Fuddruckers went under. Like Luby's is on its last life. Somehow Fred's Fish Fry still open.
how's that? That doesn't even make any sense. It's a front for something else. So if you know, you know, you
Yeah.
know. But Hooters, there's one just around the corner from where I live. Great, it's great, man, over there. I like that little Hooters that's around the corner. The people are nice. They got a lot of talent there. It's a good time. I like going to that Hooters sometimes more so than I do the Twin Peaks, because sometimes the Twin Peaks gets a little packed, right? You don't want to be waiting for necessarily an hour. Just go across the street, go to the Hooters, go to Hooters. If it's packed, you can go to Bombshells. We got some options, but I don't mind the Hooters around the corner. I've
Dude,
always
I've
had a
gone
good
to
time there.
Bombshells. I've gone to Bombshells. It's empty. Ain't
Yeah,
nobody at
you're
Bombshells.
there.
The only one that is thriving, the only two are Ojos Locos and Twin Peaks. So
Oh, it's
why
rough, bro.
okay, so let's talk about that, right? The Hooters model was the girl next door.
Yeah.
The hot girl next door was what their model was. Twin Peaks was like, you know what? We're gonna make it like a Victoria's Secret fashion shoot, right? It's all about lingerie and all that stuff, right? Ojos Locos is for like the dirty girl down the street, the chola down the street that you had the hots for, right? But what's going on, Joe, is this is the new generations, the younger generations coming up, the Gen Z, the millennials, and
Yeah.
all of that, who have no desire to go to a Hooters, watch a game.
You know what? That's what I should have asked Gabby girl when she was over there at the party, Mike. I
What's
should
that?
have asked her. I forgot to ask her. What is it that you all look for now? Your generation. I should have asked her when you're going out. Like where do you all like to hang out? What's the one thing that you all look for now? Because the things have changed, right? Now people like Gabby's age, my son's age, these are the kids that are coming up, right? They're graduating from college, right, Mike? They're making that transition into the real world now. They're getting paid and all that, so they have the residual income now. So now things are starting to change. The landscape is changing now. It's like, what are they looking for, when they're going out?
Well, I've talked to my daughter about this, and I've also talked to my girlfriend's daughter and her son about this. Remember back in the day, Joe, you and I are in our 40s, right? Back
Yeah.
in the day, we would go get trashed, you know, or we'd go to Hooters and watch sports from noon to the noon kickoff to the 3 o'clock kickoff to the 10 o'clock game. We'd have three or four pitchers of beer each. We'd have wings the entire day. We close the place down. Young people don't do that, man. And I've talked with my girlfriend's kids who are adults. I've talked to my daughter, and do you know what they tell us? It's not about going out there and getting tanked anymore. It's not about Natty Light. It's not about
Mm.
Mad Dog 2020. It's not about Schlitz and all this Keystone Light and all that stuff. It is about going out and having two really good drinks, you know, from a mixologist or a very good margarita, a very good cocktail, an old fashioned. They would much rather have two solid drinks than get trashed on 7 or 8 bad shots. Does that make any sense? And instead of going to these nightclubs, we used to go to the Atrium, we used to go to, Planeta and Joe's Volcano. They don't do that. It's all about going to lounges and chilling out and talking and having and chilling out with friends as opposed to screaming over people. The idea of going to a club to go meet a girl or meet a guy or whatever, go out there and all that. They don't do that. It's all online.
Yeah.
So it's changed, man. And then you look at these restaurants like Hooters. Hooters comes around and it's a dated model, because guys want to take their girl out to lunch or dinner.
Yeah.
They're not going to go out someplace where a woman's boobs are hanging out. They're not going to. And on top of that, if you look at like the way the layout of it, I'm glad you mentioned the one on 151. Dude, I went to that Hooters about 2 years ago with Pittman, having lunch, and I told him that I felt like I was at an airport restaurant.
Airport
It didn't have the vibe of the one on Wurzbach or even the one in Selma. It just had a very impersonal vibe that makes any sense.
It's too clean, too bright lit.
Too clean, too bright lit. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's just different. The world's different. And then for me, being of my age, I turned the corner a couple of years ago where I was like, I don't want to be the old man at Twin Peaks, dude. I don't know. I'll go hang out at the bar, but like in the restaurant, all that, I'm good.
Good. Look at Leha. He says, y'all don't take your girl to go see the Chi-Chis at Hooters or Twins or Ojos.
No. Because if you did, the girl would be what? Gone.
Gone. Wasn't Francesca said she didn't like those places, right?
I wouldn't think that she would, but I've never really had a conversation with her. Now, Hand of Fist is talking about Twin Peaks on our stream. I was mentioning the only two that are doing well are Twin Peaks and Ojos. But Ojos has an element there that is kind of, I don't know, thuggish a little bit. A little street, a little hoodish.
Yeah, come on, say it, Mike. I'm waiting for you to say ghetto.
Undesirables.
I remember when I was talking with Francesca on Friday, and I was telling her how you're always bagging on the Valley and Laredo and all that. She started laughing.
Oh yeah, because I told her that Houston's the armpit of Texas.
I
said Houston and Del Rio are the armpits. Literally on the map, if you had to draw up an armpit of them, it'd be those two cities. I hate going into Houston, man. I absolutely hate it. But I also hate going to Laredo too. Just is what it is, man. It's just pick your poison. Joe, I gotta tell you what happened this weekend.
What happened?
So, girl and her friend came over we had breakfast, right? Apparently, you dissed the fact that I took them to Las Palapas. You outright dissed the fact that I took them to LP. Explain yourself.
It wasn't LP. Where did we go? We went to Taco Planeque, right?
Well, it was also 1 a.m. Nothing else is open at 1 a.m.
We went to Taco Planeque. I was like, it's all right, dude. It's like, it's a step above Taco Cabana.
Oh, Palenque's pretty good, dude. I like Palenque.
And the nachos we had, I was like, when we go get nachos, right?
And it's not a nachos place, dude. It's not a place for nachos. No, I'll give you that.
And I got the nachos in there. I was like, bro, they're using like the cheese whiz kind of that.
Yeah, that's gross.
I was like, that's gross, bro. They should have like put the cheese on it. I was just like,
the Matamoros taco at.
Yeah, I would have just been happy with just some Jack in the Box.
Dude, Jack in the Box is gross, man. I'm a grown ass man. You're never gonna find me a Jack in the Box.
The $2 for $1 tacos.
Dude, Francesca loves those tacos from Jack in the Box. She'll be like, guess where I'm at? The Jack in the Box. I'm like, oh, man, the days of having a jumbo Jack with two tacos on the side. Screw that, man. My stomach can't handle it. Joe, I think I'm still hungover, man. Like yesterday, gross.
What'd you do yesterday? Did you just you like rehydrate and sleep, or what did you do?
Well, my mom made breakfast, and I went over to the house, and she made carne guisada with eggs and rice and beans and homemade tortillas. It's
Yeah,
great. So Francesca got to enjoy my mom's cooking for the first time. So we did that, and then I started cleaning out my house because I'm going to be selling my house because my divorce should be finalized pretty soon. And then I drove out to Conroe. 4 hour drive. I came over here and she's like, "Babe, you want me to get you something to eat?" I was like, "No fast food." Like the idea of me eating fast food right now after Taco Palenque, after
gross,
Las Palapas, after drinking all that alcohol over the weekend,
gross.
it's gross, dude. And so I'll tell you what I did over the weekend that I thought was kind of funny. Uh, I got Remember I was telling you about the tickets to go see Chris Stapleton and George Strait,
Mhm.
how they're performing 5 shows together this year.
Yeah,
I got tickets. I
yeah.
got tickets.
Um,
So I asked Francesca where does she want to go because it's 4 cities in the Northeast and there's one in California, Irvine, California. They have Boston, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and I believe it's New Hampshire. She chose Philadelphia. She goes, "I've never been to that city." I was like, "Great." Bought the tickets, Ticketmaster. So I got it from, like legit from the source, right? So it wasn't like I had to like go to like StubHub or whatever and pay like 3 times the normal price. I got it for face value. I'm all excited. So what we're doing is we have this calendar of what we're doing, right? Because she has her kids in Conroe. She has one kid in Conroe, one kid in Miami. I have my 2 kids in San Antonio. So we want to be able to go see them all and all we're doing, and then we do trips, right? We've got Lake Charles to go see Babyface coming up. So we got a calendar out to kind of map it all out. We just realized that the show to go see Chris Stapleton and George Strait, Joe, on the same week as Post Malone Jelly Roll.
can't go to both.
Well, no, we could. One's on a Wednesday, the other one's on a Saturday. That's a lot of concerts to take in one week, man.
Mhm. That
So
sure
good
is.
times.
You know what else?
Jesse A saying Ticketmaster fees are a killer. They are, but what I'm looking at though, is if we don't go because that's going to be a hot ticket, and we won the lottery to win those tickets, to buy those tickets. I'm sure we can flip them for a profit. Worst case scenario.
Yeah. Speaking of flipping, that's gonna be the topic of our next discussion right here. Check this out, Mike. So we all know about the Wemby, swap with the little
Yeah.
kid, and they put it out there on eBay. So it says in December, this is from Front Office Sports, who I'm following on the X. It says in December, Victor Wembanyama swapped jerseys with a young fan in Brooklyn. A few weeks later, the jersey went to auction. Opening price was at 10 grand. Just days after Wemby's season ended, the jersey sold for 73K, bro. I mean, that's a lot of coin, Mike, for a jersey.
So it got flipped for 73.
The opening bid originally started at
Oh, at
10
10. Okay.
and it sold finally for 73K.
Yeah,
I'm
that's a
like,
lot of
damn,
money, dude.
it's a
That's a lot of
lot of
money.
money. And look
But
at this little kid, dude. The father knew damn well what he was doing. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna give this to the kid. I'm gonna put it up for the kid." No, he always knew he wanted to make a profit off of this, dude. It was all just for show, man.
mhm. That's brutal, man. Like, how do you take a kid's thing, dude? It's kind of like you go to baseball games and you see grown ass men wrestle balls away from little kids, like from
Yeah,
home run balls and stuff like that. That's brutal.
yeah. So
That's
they
brutal.
went ahead and flipped the jersey. But you see something else that somebody else is trying to make a profit off of. Speaking of flipping, again, the great Adrian Wojnarowski, dude. Yeah, Front Office Sports again says Adrian Wojnarowski is auctioning off the iPhones he used to break Woj bombs during his NBA and during his NBA days over with ESPN and all that, and he's also auctioning off his credentials that he got, his passes and whatnot. So he's trying to raise money. It says the proceeds for the Woj collection. That's what they're calling it, right? Will raise NIL money for the Saint Bonaventure men's basketball team.
That's awesome, man. He's part of the program over there. He's on the staff over there
Look
at
at the
St.
prices,
Bonnie's.
Mike. It says iPhone used to break NBA what's a suspending season in COVID. $225 right now, I think is the opening bid, or let me see, what is it? No, 525. So now they have the 2023 NBA draft credentials that he's had, right? Those are up for bid for $200. The iPhone used to break Paul George Kawhi to LA to Los Angeles Clippers 350. And the phones probably don't work anymore or nothing, but you could still have them if you want to add it to your collection.
That's awesome, dude. That's the memorabilia there that like you could never explain to your wife or girlfriend. Go, okay, babe, I spent tens of thousands of dollars on a cell phone. What's so special about the cell phone? Is it diamond encrusted? No.
Yeah.
Woj
The COVID
broke a COVID story. Hey,
story.
can you look up video real fast for me on YouTube? Not on YouTube, on Twitter.
What is it?
Did you see Alex Rodriguez over the weekend?
No.
So
I'll look.
Alex Rodriguez was invited to speak over at Bucknell University, right? He's going to be speaking about one of his companies over there. So he goes to a college basketball game. It's Bucknell against Army. And during halftime of the game, they asked him to come onto the court and shoot a half court shot. And if he made it, the student would get $10,000.
There we go.
So here he is, courtesy of ESPN.
So he made the shot.
Yeah. The angles on there are so good. It was a bank shot.
Boom.
So what I liked about it is that he flipped the ball in the air twice. I have an echo going on, Joe.
Gotcha.
So very nice. What are your thoughts, Joe, on A-Rod knocking it down from 46 feet?
Not bad, man. Not bad at all, dude. I don't know if I'd be able to do that, or you would be able to knock down a bank shot from half court like that.
Okay, tall tale time. Tall tale time.
No, man.
Tall tale time. Okay, so my favorite places to referee high school basketball happen to be the SAISD schools. I love Lanier, Highlands. I love all that area right there, right? Oh, here's another shot of it. This is the angle I like because the way that he ran up to the ball. And he chunked it. What a great sports moment for him, right?
Yeah.
He had no warm-ups. Kid won 10 grand. That's amazing. Okay, so the tall tale time, Joe. I was officiating a basketball tournament. God, this must have been about 12. I've been refereeing for a long time, right? People think that I've only been refereeing for a couple of years. I probably have about 14, 15 years experience refereeing. But I don't referee consecutive years. There's some years where I don't do it. Good angle right here. But it was between games of a tournament, and this one kid comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, man, can you do us a favor?" I'm like, "What?" He goes, "We're all placing bets over here. We want to know. We want to see how close you could make it. If you could make a bucket." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Can you shoot it from half court to see how you would do?" He goes, "I got money riding that you're going to make it." And I was like, "From mid court?" And you're not supposed to be doing that, right? But it was a tournament that was not. It didn't count towards the regular season. It was kind of like a preseason tournament type of thing. And I was like, "Just give me the ball." And I went and I chunked it and I made it. The place went crazy. It was funny. I had my A-Rod moment 15 years ago when I was in my early 30s.
And of course, there's no video that exists of said moment.
Oh, no.
Oh, man. And look, they're already putting hand over fist. Cap alert.
Cap alert.
Look, they said his bunion was on the line.
Mario Cavalso asking, was it an Edgar? Damn straight it was, man. It's a whole team of Edgars.
Tecuaches.
I'll never forget doing a game in Lakey, a high school game in Lakey out by, was that by Concan? By, what's that? Garner State Park. And the school over there, they had their freshman and JV squad over there, and then Floresville rolled up, and everybody in Floresville had like they drove, and they all had like goatees, and they all looked they looked old, man. And you put them up against the kids from Lakey, and the kids they're the same age, man. Different life experiences. The Lakey kids look like kids. The other guys look like grown ass men. It was funny.
Jeez, man.
Joe, I hear that you might be coming out to Conroe, man, to come go fishing or something.
Yeah, I go to Conroe, probably go and visit my friend Matty B and go check out, hang out with him, go check out some of the sites over there in Houston, hang out with Maddie and his girlfriend, Lauren, Lolo.
Mhm.
So, yeah, man, I'm probably going out there here pretty soon.
Yeah, I'll be. The girlfriend is a huge Astros fan, so she has asked me to take her to an Astros game on a Monday. So we're pinpointing right now. I think we're going to go to the Giants game against the Astros on March 31st. I think it's the last Monday of the month. Dude, the baseball season starting early. It typically starts like the April 4th or 5th. This year it's starting late March. People are asking the question, have they announced the concert lineup for the Final Four yet? Jeez, man, I forgot about that. Let
Let's
me
see,
see.
man. There was
They anything new?
I'm looking right now.
I'm
Let's
I'm on their music festival site right now. Brought to you by Capital One, the AT&T Block Party. It's going to be April 4th and 5th.
I'm looking to see if they made any official announcements yet. It just says free. Doesn't have anything on here yet.
All it says is the past performers have been, for those of you who don't know who they've been, in the past 15 years, the performers have included Bruce Springsteen, which I was at, Rihanna, Kendrick Lamar, Dave Matthews Band, Imagine Dragons, Keith Urban, Jonas Brothers, Jimmy Buffett, Maroon 5, which is the one that they did over here last time, The Killers, and Pitbull. Those have been the headliners the last 15 years. The one that I went to in Dallas, the Killers, the opening acts were Tim McGraw and LL Cool J.
Yeah. So they have the event. It says the block party starts on April the 5th or April the 4th, right, on Friday. So then they're going to have a concert, of course, happens April the 5th, and then it ends on April the 6th.
Mm-hmm.
So they always have this at 801 East Cesar Chavez Boulevard, right there at Tower Park, the Hemisphere Tower Park there. It's like a big old field that they have, They put up the stage and all that there. It's not a bad venue.
I think we looked up last time. It was the first week of March that they made the announcement last year. And then when the one that was here, which was Maroon 5, it was also Panic at the Disco and Deja or something like that was the other act.
Charlie XOXO, I think, was there too, and some other. They had Imagine Dragons, because I remember I was there for that, and they had some other acts that we saw. We were there the whole day. I think it was on Saturday.
It was fun. I took my kids. I took my nephews also. Let's give some love to not MCS, to Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs at Ken's 5. He was a no-show at the party, but he was there in spirit.
Yeah, gave us some money for a round of drinks for everybody. I
There
took
you
care of
go.
everybody. There you go. Thank you, Jeff. Locked On Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast, hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked On Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on Threads at Jeff G Ken's 5 SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow not only on Threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/@LockedOnSpurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share.
That's right, at Jeff G Spurs Zone. You can hear interviews with Julian Champagny, Mitch Johnson, Chris Paul. Find out what they had to say after the Spurs lost to the Pelicans yesterday in New Orleans. There's some stories as well about the Spurs being philanthropic, what they've done in the community, another donation being made alongside Frost Bank. So go to Jeff G Spurs Zone on Twitter or Threads or on Kens5.com. You can subscribe again on Facebook and on YouTube. Joe, going on my screen on my Twitter account,
Hmm.
I posted this video from ESPN yesterday of John Morant of Memphis and Jared Allen of the Cleveland Cavaliers. What do you think about this reaction that was done? Jeff Garcia also posted this. I thought it was kind of funny. So don't be wrong. Jared Allen's a center. John Morant a point guard.
Yeah.
If we can make that full. John Morant gives him a big old hug. Why? He got posterized, and his reaction was to give him a hug and smile. Like
I
good
got
shot,
you,
good
dog.
shot.
I got you. I got you.
Are you okay with this, Joe? Are you okay with John Morant being like,
You got
"Oh,
me.
I got posterized," and instantaneously going, "I'm just gonna give this dude a hug."
That's funny, dude. He
And
took him
one.
up. Weren't you the one that was telling me this was funny? This is kind of like what happened with you. You said that you were getting
Oh,
dunked on and you trying to foul this guy.
Okay, so this was a drunken conversation that I had with Joe. Okay,
Oh,
I don't know if I've ever told this story. Call it a tall tale if you want, but it's. You all say tall tales whenever I do something right, right? But this is an embarrassing moment. I have the uncanny ability, Joe, to never be embarrassed, right? Very rarely am I ever embarrassed. I don't care if I slip and fall and people start laughing. I don't care because I have a I don't give a crap about what you think of me attitude. I care what a handful of people think about me, right? So I was in college at Texas State, and I was telling Joe this over drinks. I was drunk when I was telling the story, by the way. So thank you for bringing it up. Uh, we played intramural basketball back in the day, and I was a pretty good basketball player back in the day, decent for a short guy.
sneaky
I
athletic.
I weighed a lot less back then. So me and my roommate George, we were lighting it up from three, man, and we were playing this team that's all like 6'4", 6'6", 6'7", and they were just dunking on us like crazy. Their shooting percentage was like 100%. It was just all dunks and alley oops. But we kept the game close because we were knocking down threes. So we would knock down a three, they'd get a bucket. They'd steal it from us. We'd knock down a three, and all of a sudden, it's just we kept pace with them. Getting down towards the end of the game, I was getting frustrated by getting dunked on so many times. Right? I mean, we were all getting worked on that. I said, I'm going to stop one of these guys from dunking just once. And I'm going to jump and I'm going to get in front of them. I'm going to do something, right? So they steal the ball from us and it's on transition and I'm 2-on-1 fast break going the other way. I'm the one. And I jump in front of the guy. I run up and I jump in front of him and I stick my hand up in the air and I palm the ball as he's about to take off. And in my head, I'm thinking to myself, haha, I got him. Gotcha. This guy's like 6'6", man. 6'6". He takes me to the rim. He launched himself to go dunk the ball. And I jumped, palmed the ball, and then I went for a ride. He took me to the rim, nudged me off, and finger rolled it. I came crashing down onto my back, just like the ball goes through the hoop. He finger rolls it like George Gervin, right? The ball bounces, boom, 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 and the place just erupts. Like I think everyone was in shock for about 3 seconds, man. For about 3 seconds, everyone was shocked. That was the most embarrassing moment I'd ever had in sports, man. A lot of embarrassing moments in sports. That one right there was super embarrassing because the guy took me for a ride, man. The guy he was probably about 6'6". That guy just took me for a ride, man. That brother took me to the hoop. He literally took me to the hole. He took me to the hole, nudged me off. It was funny.
Look at this, man. I just was scouring through the X, man. This was funny, dude. I'm going to show you all this on full game highlights. They put the Joker and Nikola Jokic, Nikola Jokic and Donick up here, man. That's funny, dude. That's something that our guy Swiss would do.
Let's talk about these guys, man. Nikola Jokic, 3-time MVP. He might win a fourth one. Is he knocking on the door of a top 10 player of all time? If you have 4 MVPs, wouldn't
I
you
don't know.
consider that?
He's
Or is he
getting
not get? Or is he not getting the respect because he's not an American player? By the way, yesterday Luka Doncic had his first good game with the Lakers as they played Denver. Luka Doncic had 32 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists as they beat the living crap out of the Denver Nuggets yesterday. It was a blowout. I think it was like 23 points, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah. I mean, he had a better game. He could probably have better games as maybe he starts getting used to playing with Bron and the Lakers over there. But Bron James, man, he's gonna want to go ahead and get all the touches. So doesn't leave very much room for Luca.
Yeah, but that's at least you saw something that you could potentially build on because it was a good
Yeah.
game by all three parties involved. I mean, Austin Reeves and you see LeBron and Luca go off at the same time. I mean, that's what Laker fans are hoping for, right? That's what the NBA is hoping for that team to kind of right the ship and get things going. But look at the standings right now in the NBA. Western Conference standings, Spurs still at the number 12 position at 24-31. We are 3.5 games away from Sacramento. Sacramento 28-28. So you would think that the Spurs would have to go around 17-10 the rest of the way to go 41-41 to make it. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. Oh, look at Jess says, I hope Joe shared the beer money I sent him with Jimenez over the weekend. I did. I kept getting Jimenez drinks. I was getting you your go-to drink. What was it getting you? Diet and Jack Daniels. Or
That's
what?
right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why I got drunk. It was the Jack, man. Makers doesn't get me drunk too bad. Crown doesn't, but Jack makes me feel like a rock star.
Yeah. I was getting you Jack and Diet. And then I was getting
Well, what does Pledger say? He says, I love Joker, but come on, MVP shouldn't be close. SGA leads the NBA in scoring at 32.2 points per game and has sat out the entire fourth quarter 14 times this season. I wouldn't mind SGA. SGA, American player? Nope. Dude's from Canada, if I'm not mistaken. Alex is saying, keep on losing, Atlanta Hawks, baby. That's right.
Pledger calling Jeff out. He goes, where was Jeff? Jeff didn't make it. But we had a good time, though, nonetheless, Pledge. Thanks for hanging out with me, man. Took me
Yeah,
back to the brew pub.
Pledger laughed at me because I walked off the stage after four words. I was like,
Done.
voice isn't there. I'm done. I'm too drunk.
I'm done. Yeah, I had a good time with Pledge, man. We love you, Pledge. You had a great night, man. It was a late one.
That's
I'm going to
funny.
show this too. Jeff Garcia had posted this out. Picture circulating around the social media of Wemby. He's hanging out at some type of antique mall, man. He's taking some
Where
pictures.
is that?
I don't know. It says Ironside Antiques Mall.
Do you think it's a real photo?
It looks like it. They're putting it out there. It looks like
Or is this a Swiss special?
no. This is a legitimate photo, dude. He's just out there hanging out at a antiques mall. He was shopping apparently.
Okay, so I'm looking at the location of this place. It's off of I-10 and let's see, what road is it? I-10 and Wurzbach.
Yeah.
Dude, this is right next to the poker house. The what used to be Rounders.
Yeah.
What the hell is he doing there?
Just hanging out, dude.
Hanging out with the gente?
Like that's off I-10 and Wurzbach. So definitely go out there and to Jeff's X and see a little bit more. And Jeff's got some cool stories out there, Spurs related, of course, because Jeff releases all the best Spurs content out there. Your daily Spurs content with Locked On Spurs. Make sure you all go out there and give them a follow, a like, and you can listen anywhere. You can go ahead and get your major podcast on any major podcast platform. And Mike, let's give you some love.
That's right. 210-508-0369. This is my number, my actual cell phone number. So if you have questions about anything involving investments or insurances, give me a call, 210-508-0369. I've been in business for 19 years, celebrating 20 years in April. I handle people's retirement. So when it comes to like old 401ks, starting an IRA, rolling over an account, life insurance, disability, you give me a call. I'm a fiduciary. Do what's right. Do what's right. 210-508-0369. It's been a good year. been a good year. Lockdown Spurs, Jeff Garcia is in our stream right now saying, I told them on record I was not committing to going, Pledger. Karaoke video dangerous mix. He didn't have to karaoke. Joe, how many songs did you sing?
I ain't sing a damn song.
How many songs did Pledger sing?
None.
None. Just because you go to karaoke doesn't mean that you have to karaoke. Now, War Pigs that Gabe performed, Alex bringing this up. Gabe Chacon, who's on our stream a lot as well, sang Black Sabbath, War Pigs, Ozzy Osbourne style. Dude, he was amazing. That was a great performance. And Gabe is somebody who doesn't karaoke, man. I actually put his name on there. I said, what are you going to karaoke? He goes, I don't do that, man. I don't sing. And I said, well, what would you sing if you did karaoke? And he goes, the only song that I'm comfortable singing is War Pigs. And I said, okay. I went up there and I said, hey, put up Gabe for War Pigs, Black Sabbath. Here's a tip. Put him at the top.
Yeah.
And I was like, Gabe, you're next. And he was like, what? And then his wife came running with the cell phone camera. She was surprised, man. She was like, I can't believe he's doing this. He did so good, man.
Good for him, man. Hey, we need to give a shout out to your friend that showed up on Friday night. What was his name? Rick? Root? What was his name? We call him Rick Dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to him, man. He was a cool dude, man. Hung out with us for a little bit.
Very nice, man. I've known Rick. He was my next door neighbor growing up.
Yeah.
So
cool
very
dude,
cool.
Man. Hey, man.
Mac Amos is asking me, what do we need to do to hype up Mike for soccer? I mean, I like going to soccer. I mean, I've been to SAFC a couple of times. I enjoyed it. I was inside the what's that bunker area? I was in there for one.
That's your bunker.
I was there both times, man. It's fun. It's fun, but like for me to have conversations where I'm going to be talking about SAFC, it's kind of like Brahma's football. It's very niche. It's very niche.
Yeah. So I was going to say, this is what I did yesterday. Waking up, had a long evening, washed the night off me. You know what I was craving, dude? What I wanted?
Menudo.
No,
Bud
man,
Jones.
Jones, bro. So I went to the Bud Jones restaurant on my old stomping grounds over in the South Side. Got me the big Mexican plate there. Just chilled out and ate for a little bit. It was good times, man. Got to go out there and support Bud Jones, man. I heard that they're going to be shutting down here. They're having trouble staying open. They needed the support of the fans. Kind of went ahead and put that out there in a social media post. Go out there and go and support Bud Jones, man. You can still have some good food out there, man. The Mexican plate, chicken fried steak. They still got the catfish and all that out there. Go out and support local, man.
So I'm Bud Jones. I went to last year. I hadn't been there in forever. I went there as a kid, but I hadn't been there in forever. It was all right. It was all right. Reading a story on mysa.com, article by Polly Rocha, food reporter, and then she just posted this saying that Jim's Restaurants has been ordered to pay $4 million after losing a lawsuit. Apparently, back in 2022, there was an accident involving a couple from Shirts. They were seated near a window that was broken, and it shattered all over them.
Oof.
It says the plate glass window shattered over them and led to a number of injuries, subsequent pain, and several complications, according to a lawsuit. And now Jim's is being ordered to pay $4 million.
Damn.
1.6 of it going to the lawyers. It's a good deal. It's a good racket if you got it, right?
Yeah, of course they're gonna always charge you, man. That's the thing with anybody that's getting money and having lawyer representation. They don't work for free, Mike.
Yeah. There are reports that the person who was injured, one of the people that was injured, worked at USAA, but the injuries that were sustained were so severe that she actually got let go by USAA for not being able to work. Very nice.
I think I just saw something here, man. It's like they're teasing the Andor season 2 trailer going to be dropping here too. So if you're a fan of Andor, which is Star Wars related, let's say series that's coming out on Disney Plus, there you go, man.
Hey, season 2 of 1923 is also up and running. That's the one that was filmed downtown. here in San Antonio. There's a lot of scenes being done over there. So 1923 is back up and running. That is pretty cool. Real fast before we go, we talked a little bit about the Spurs earlier. Everyone debating who the next coach of the Spurs should be, and everyone said, "Well, just put Mitch Johnson back as assistant coach." How do we let Spurs fans know that that's not going to happen? That if Mitch Johnson is not the head coach of the team next year, which that's the Spurs' prerogative, right? They can pick another team. He won't be there. Another team will hire him. So the idea of we're going to let him marinate for 2 or 3 years is dumb. Crazy, man. Crazy.
Look at that. They were saying that Bill Miller's because they got sued over here recently. Remember with that one Patreon that they had out there? You know, one of their customers went and ordered some food, and they gave him a really hot container of that barbecue
Barbecue
sauce
sauce. Yeah.
spilled all over the leg. They had like second-degree burns, and they had to go ahead and give a payout too. So now what they do is they have these stickers on the food, and it says that their food is hot. You know, so they're
Well,
warning them.
everyone jokes about the McDonald's one from many, many years ago.
Ooh,
If you
the
go, if
coffee,
you if
dude.
you go, the old lady with the coffee, she didn't spill the coffee. The coffee disintegrated the damn cup
Bro, it's hot.
and gave her third-degree burns.
Whew.
Like everyone joked about it, the Arsenio Halls of the world and Sally Jesse Raphaels of the world, and all of those back in the day were like, it's coffee. Coffee is coffee at a certain temperature. I think 160 degrees is what it should be. But when it's boiling over, or it should be 120, 140, but when it's boiling over and it disintegrates a cup, that's a little bit different, man. A little bit different.
Yeah, so you have the local flair, dude, getting sued here. So
Mario Cavazos comes out and says, Mitch Johnson sounds like what? He wants to hear you say it, Joe.
gone,
He's not, dude. Mitch
gone,
Johnson's the head coach of the Spurs next year.
bro. Next year, his name's gonna be gone. I guarantee you, he ain't gonna come back.
I am 100% certain Mitch Johnson will be the head coach of
Mm.
the Spurs next year.
Bro, he think he wants to come back and coach this squad if they don't make any
Yeah,
moves in the offseason? He's gonna be
yeah.
like, it's the
He's got
same
Wemby.
result. Same result.
Joe, there's only 30 positions in the NBA for head coaching. He's not going
Gone.
to turn one down.
Gone.
He's not going. He's going to be back.
Maybe somebody will go and start calling, give him some more money, put some better talent out there. He'd be like, coach the Spurs and do the low key tank, or go and win somewhere else. Go win somewhere else.
No, he could. He's going to be head coach someplace.
Yeah.
And if we see him go off and have a long, illustrious career, we're going to be kicking ourselves, man.
And the Spurs fans are gonna say, "Well, once a Spurs, always a Spur. I'm gonna follow him."
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man.
Tim Gonzalez asking us if Dan Hurley would coach the Spurs. No. If he ain't going to coach the Lakers, he ain't going to coach the Spurs.
Why would he want to come over here? What's the incentive for him?
He makes what, $8 million at UConn.
Yeah,
He's
doesn't have
fine.
to put up with the headache. No, man,
He's fine.
I'm
Only
good.
half the games. Hannah Fist saying Spurs can get another coach. Plenty of coaches want to be associated with Wemby. I mean, maybe.
Yeah,
But at the end of the day, are they under contract now? Plenty of coaches would want to, but are they available
why
right
does
now?
everybody want Kerr, man? Kerr's one of these overrated coaches. He walked into an already talented team,
Yeah,
right?
he walked into Mark Jackson's team.
Yeah, he didn't build this team. Mark Jackson built it, and he was just
It's like when John Gruden built that team in Tampa Bay. I'm sorry, Tony Dungy built the team that John Gruden won with. Same thing. He didn't build anything. And Fist and MJ's a joke. And the punchline.
What songs did Mike sing?
Nobody Knows by Tony Rich Project and Here I Go Again by who's that again? The White Snake?
Yeah, it's White Snake. And look at that. Tavares says Kerr doesn't play rookies. I don't think Kerr can win if he doesn't have the talent around him, that he did over at Golden State. You're kind of seeing, a little bit of flux happen, since they were starting to lose some of their players. They're kind of aging out a little bit. Now you're going to really see what Kerr can do. you know.
Mhm. Well, fellas, let's call it a day. I got to head back to the office and work on a few things. Joe, have an amazing day. I will be in tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're gonna have rotating co-hosts on that one because I have a business trip. I'll be working in Charlotte, North Carolina this week.
All right.
I might be able to call in for a segment or two, but aside from that, just a little housekeeping in order.
Yeah.
Everyone have a fantastic day. Don't forget to hit the like button on the way out.
All right. See you guys tomorrow.
See ya.